So, which is Superman's real identity? Superman or Clark? Believe it or not, your answer puts you on one side of the most divisive issue in Superman fandom, and shows what you think about immigration.
And I can be a Superman for you. I'll sweep you off your feet, and a princess you can be.
Hi, I'm Normal Guy, and this is Normal Guy vs. the World. Superman, of course, is the ultimate immigrant character, so it's no surprise that one of his main character tensions in the comics, and it's also been a debate in fandom, which is his primary identity, Kryptonian or is it human? This is often framed as a debate of nature versus nurture, but it's really not, because his nature stays the same. What's at stake is which heritage he has, which culture, its mores, its values, does he relate to more? Which are most formative of his nature? Writers, like fans, usually fall into one of those two categories the way they write the stories, and you can kind of tell which one they're coming from based on a few of these things. The Kal-El Superman, whose alien side is more important, is probably the more famous one because it was done in the Chris Reeve movies. This version of Superman is the identity. Clark Kent is just disguise that he's puts on. He's most comfortable in his fortress of solitude, surrounded by alien artifacts. He spends most of his time kind of standing up, kind of looking down on human beings. Not in a bad way exactly, just, down. And the story of his time growing up, that was a time where he was raised well, but sort of held back by the Kents and his human identity until he learned to embrace his Kryptonian side and then flourished as this above-human Superman. His costume is constructed by Jor-El or Kryptonian, is some kind of Kryptonian armor supposed to represent like a Kryptonian flag. Oh yeah, and he's pretty much perfect and nigh omnipotent. You'll find this version in the Chris Reeve movies, Superman Birthright, All-Star Superman, and Superman vs. Goku internet video. The Clark Kent Superman has been the dominant version in the comics for the past 30 years. This version of Clark is less of an act. When he wants to hang out, he hangs out with Lois and Jimmy, and Kent's values that they raise him with are the reason that he is the hero he is today. He likes his Kryptonian heritage, but that's not what shaped him into becoming the Superman he is. The costume was made by the Kents out of his alien blankets, and is supposed to represent the values that they raised him with, to be bold and proud and unashamed of your values. That version of Superman is the one that's been done in Superman the Animated Series, Smallville, Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman TV show, anything by John Byrne or Jeff Loeb, particularly Superman the Man of Steel and Superman for All Seasons. Now, my personal preference is the Clark as Superman version for several reasons. One, everybody's always complaining about how unrelatable Superman is, and I think it makes him more relatable for him to feel like he's human. In any case. And that also breeds more tension that he feels like he's human, and so he wants to connect with people on that level. That's what makes the separation tragic, that because he is so different, he has a hard time connecting. Also, it's really inspiring in that no matter what, I should never think of myself as above other people. I should think of myself as an ordinary guy like everybody else, which is, really difficult for me because I'm just so awesome. Clark Kent's such a normal guy. It's a greatness of the normal guy that's at the heart of the Superman story. Also, it sort of reminds us of our responsibility as a culture. Because one thing people have been talking about in these instances of domestic terror caused by young Muslim men, it represents a failure of us and our society to assimilate them and make them feel like they belong in our country. And then that makes the story of Superman, how he comes down and then the Kents do raise him to feel like he's a part of that story and a part of the human race. That is a really inspiring lesson to us in how we're supposed to deal with each other. And for Superman to represent that really does make him a great lesson as the ultimate immigrant. And it puts him in contrast with all of his other villains who, what distinguishes them from Superman is they don't feel a connection to the human race. They feel like they are above it. In some cases, like Lex Luthor, even though he is a human, or Zod, or Brainiac, or Darkseid, those people who feel like they are above humanity and are inhuman. And that makes Superman representing the right way for us to think about each other as all part of the same family, against the wrong way of us people feeling like they are better than each other and therefore more deserving of ruling and imposing their will on others. So there concludes one of the most controversial episodes I've ever done. Feel free to comment on why everything I've said is wrong, and I'm sure it is. And be sure to subscribe to the Real Normal Guys channel for more great videos like this. Until next time, keep it very Clark Kent on Normal Guy versus the World.